Right, it's time to talk Avengers Days of Ultron. Going into this movie, I was hearing not negative things, but things that were just like, oh, it's just not as great as we were hoping, and I disagree with that. Would I say it was better than the original Avengers at parts? Yeah, I would. Overall, not sure I would. So let's just get into the pros and cons. Starting with the cons, because there's not as many of those, but they're the things that affected the movie. And at the very beginning was my personal biggest con. It just kind of just starts in the middle of action. And though the action was neat, I had no real context to it in the beginning, no real reason to care, so it was just happening. Later in the movie, this was not the case. There was some weight to the things that were happening at the end, and I think it was a much better climactic fight scene at the end than the original Avengers. So, like I said, at parts better than the original. But at the beginning of the first Avengers, it just was much more subtle, and though still an action scene, it was also an introduction into what a world that needs the Avengers would be. Where this one was just, hey, the Avengers are doing stuff, and we really don't get to know why they're doing this until later on in the battle. Unless you had watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. already, then you know why they're there. So this was kind of just that at the beginning, kind of a con. Another thing that I was not a big fan of was at the beginning of Scarlet Witch's storyline. I think Quicksilver the whole time, oh man, talk about a pro. Quicksilver, this Quicksilver I enjoyed more than the Days of Future Past Quicksilver, which is saying something because that one was cool. I just think that this character, the effects in Days of Future Past for Quicksilver were better. The character of Quicksilver was better portrayed in this with his dynamic with his twin sister and just the way that he played off the other characters. I felt he was a stronger character, and bothered me though. I thought it was kind of weird in the trailer. But Scarlet Witch, on the other hand, I just think they didn't really have a grasp of of who she was or what her powers were at the beginning or later on, which she's using more of the telekinetic parts of her powers. I thought it was much more better done, and then she had moments with other characters that I think were strong. In the beginning, not so much. Another con, there's parts of the ending that, though I said that the battle itself and the way that the Ultrons are taken out is better than the Chitauri fight scene. There's just elements of the end that had me questioning certain things about the universe, and I just didn't like the very end that happens with. Well, I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, those were the main flaws for me. The rest of it was pretty proactive. Like, so this is an A+ movie, so I mean, there's a lot of pro to it. Vision, I think, was really well done, and the way Ultron is taken care of with the help of Vision. I don't want to say how that happens or what all goes around this, but I thought that was handled really well. So that part of the ending was not bad. That was really strong. It was a lot more close in tone to the Avengers than I expected, which could be a pro or a con. I liked the way that all the characters played off each other, including Ultron, who Ultron's basically just a Raymond Reddington character with anger issues, and I thought that was a really strong villain, which we really hadn't seen a strong villain, because I don't really count the Winter Soldier as a villain. The head of S.H.I.E.L.D. in that one, I guess, was a decent villain, but he wasn't imposing and a good villain. He was just the latter. This one, I don't think we've had one since Loki that was this good, and that was in the Avengers, where Loki was the last villain. So, best villain of Phase 2. Thought it was really well portrayed, and he was funnier than I expected. And in the first Avengers, some of the interactions seemed a bit more forced, where in this one it felt more natural the way they played off each other. And there's a couple running jokes in this one, which I really didn't feel in the first Avengers, where there was just jokes that kept popping up. But there's one in particular I don't want to spoil. Just kept showing up, especially in the first half of the movie, and then you kind of go without, and then at the end comes back. So I thought the jokes were better portrayed in this one. Though, like I said, I thought it was going to be a darker tone. I don't know if I would have liked that more, so I don't know if it's pro or con, but I really enjoyed the tone that they did wind up with, because it was darker, but I just thought it was going to be even more dark, more of an Empire Strikes Back dark, and it didn't get that dark. I don't think that's much of a spoiler. Also, they made me care about Hawkeye, and that is very impressive for this. I mean, I don't want to spoil what happens to characters. There were rumors beforehand of certain characters dying, and I don't want to say if they do, if they don't. But in this one, which I didn't expect, especially after so many times they brought characters back from death, that I would actually feel like these characters could die, and just the way that Hawkeye in particular was portrayed the whole time, I felt that he could die. I'm not going to say if he did or he didn't. You might be thinking one way with this now. You watch the movie and then you think the other way. Who knows? I'm just not going to spoil that for you. But they really portrayed his character. It was kind of almost, his story was the center of the story. Like, it wasn't a Hawkeye movie, but the things that happened were all revolving around Hawkeye. And I liked that. And he had some of the funniest lines in this. Like, at one point, I think it's in the trailer, where he's just like, all I got's in a bow and arrow. What? It doesn't even make sense that I'm here. And he had a couple great lines like this. And all the new characters, supporting characters, were portrayed well. I mean, even Claw, who showed up, portrayed by Andy Serkis, he was only in there for like one, maybe two scenes. And even he plays well off of the other characters. And I think if he shows back up in a Black Panther movie, I will want to see more of his character. So, yeah, overall, the action, in that final battle, there's what I would consider the best action scene in the movie, where it's another one of those where they're all together fighting. I thought that was very strong, the best action scene in the movie. But throughout, there was good action, besides, like I said in the beginning, where there was no weight to it. After that, a lot of weight to go with it. Obviously, you've noticed I not one to spoil anything. I don't know if there's enough spoilers to have a spoiler review, but let me know down below if you want me to have one. Overall, not sure where it ranks yet in my Marvel listing, but it's definitely in the upper level, and it's definitely an A+ movie. Go see this. I'm going to go see this a couple more times probably in the next week, because I enjoyed it that much, and this might be my favorite movie of the year until Star Wars comes out, because, I mean, it's Star Wars, so it's got to be better. So if you've seen it, let me know what your favorite parts were, and who your favorite character was that was in the movie. Please like, share, and subscribe as always. Thank you guys for watching.